I'm interviewing Drayton Stringer, and he served in World War II in the Air Force and achieved the rank of Major. We are recording this on December 5th, 2012 in Anderson, South Carolina. And I am Anna Hickey, and I'm conducting the interview, and there's no relation. Okay. So, Mr. Stringer, where were you born?
Born
Yes, sir.
in Anderson.
Okay, and you grew up in Anderson your whole life?
Mm-hmm.
And you said you were one of 8 children?
One of 8 children, that's right.
Were you the youngest, oldest, in the middle? Were you the youngest, the oldest, or in the middle?
Ways.
Middle?
About middle ways of 8 children.
And what was your education like?
5 boys and 3 girls.
What was your education? Where'd you go to school?
Boys high school here in Anderson.
No, where did you go to school?
That's where he went.
Okay, and then college, where did...
College, Anderson College, and
Okay.
University of South Carolina.
Okay. And how did you become interested in the war? Did you draft, or were you enlisted?
Well, I was drafted, but I volunteered for the Air Force. When I got drafted, I volunteered for the Air Force. I didn't want to be a draftee, so I volunteered for the Air Force.
So, why did you choose the Air Force?
Well, I enjoyed flying. I had gotten a private pilot license free. They offered that before the draft came in. They offered take free lessons. So I earned a private pilot license, and I enjoyed flying, and I decided I'd go in the Air Force.
So when Pearl Harbor happened, where were you?
Pearl Harbor?
Yes, sir.
Where was I?
Yes, sir.
I was visiting my home here in Anderson, and on my way back to Columbia, I stopped by a service station. I knew the fellow that ran it here in Anderson, and they had the radio on. I didn't even know I was out in the country, and we didn't have a radio on. I stopped, and they all crowded around the radio.
And then after that, is that when you decided you were going to enlist in the war, when you were going to go to war?
Well, I got my draft notice. I was right on the go. I got a low number, 496, I believe. And as soon as I got my draft notice, I went down and asked them about joining the Air Force, and they said, we'll arrange it if you want to. So
Were you married at this time? Were you married at this point?
was married? No.
No? Okay.
No, I was a single fella. You try anything when you're single, you know.
Yeah. And then, where did you go for training?
Where to go for training?
Yes, sir.
Well, San Antonio, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Enid, Oklahoma, back to Pampa, Texas, and that's where I finished my flying. I got my wings at Pampa, Texas.
And did you receive any specialized training?
Well, for B-17s, I went to, they sent me the first thing to Ephrata, Washington, all the way across the state. I joined the crew, was already waiting on a co-pilot. They'd already been organized, waiting on somebody to send them a co-pilot, and I was a co-pilot. And we flew some out there, and then we headed toward Germany.
Okay, and then what year did you go to Germany?
1943.
And then
Let's see, wait a minute now, 1943. 43E. I was thinking about it then. That's right, 1943.
And where did you land in Germany? Where did you land in Germany?
What did I?
Where did you
land? Where did you show up?
Where I landed over there?
Yes, sir.
Prestwick Isle, Scotland.
Okay.
We flew in, left Bangor, Newfoundland, left Newfoundland, flew to Prestwick Isle, Scotland.
And then from there you went to Germany?
From there you caught a train and started going south to England.
Okay. And then once you were in England, what did you do once you were there?
When I got to England?
Yes, sir.
Well, they started after you start right on the go, exercising and getting ready for missions.
What were your living conditions like over there? What were your living conditions? Like, where'd you sleep?
Well, it was lucky. When we landed there, to the staging area. They send you there to ship you out at different bases. Some fellow walked up to us, just asked, said, y'all have a preference? And we said no. He said, well, ask for basic hours to get that group of planes all together in formation. All the groups are pulled into the right place. It's amazing how they all come together when they get to that channel. They all groups all come together. You got a steady stream of them. And it's, we head out, usually it's got it on 11:10, you cross the channel at 11:10 or 12:10. That's the lead man. We just follow the leader.
Okay.
See, they got a leader of the wing there, and everybody follows him.
So 7-8 miles, he said, but how many hours would that be?
He was talking about 11 hours.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 11 hours one time is one mission lasted
Wow.
11 hours.
So do you bring food up there with you?
I never
prepare
ate a
for
bite. Somebody cares. I don't think anybody, the pilot never ate anything, and I never ate anything. I never drank anything. And you don't get hungry, you tense, and you're not hungry, and you're not thirsty or anything. And you're busy, you just don't think about eating.
So how many, you said you were at 25 missions?
25.
So on the days that you didn't have a mission, what would you do on your downtime?
On the ground time, anything you want to do, loafing around. They had some of us get out and ride bicycles. A lot of bad weather in England. A lot of days off. You had a lot of days off, couldn't fly. And they alerted you the night before. They came around to the officers club and go home. We got a mission in the morning. Like they come in, say about 6, 7 o'clock. They got a mission tomorrow, so go. Dad, you go to your barracks and get a night's sleep.
So you would just find out the night before you'd have a mission?
Night before. Usually the night before is when they'd tell you. Sometime they'd have to scrub that. The weather would move in, fog would move in, couldn't take off. But usually when they scheduled a mission, they had pretty good judge on the weather. And we'd take off at daylight. You took off at daylight. Wake you up at 3 o'clock and eat breakfast, and then put on your gear, briefing room, tell you what to do and what all things. Then they'd go to the plane and crank up, ready to go. As soon as daylight got there, they'd start taking off. And you take off in your order. You order which you come, you turn off a certain order. And
what mission was it that your one of your crew members died? Do you remember?
well, it was long about the about middle ways, I guess. About middle ways when I think he got killed, somewhere along then.
So how did they number the missions, or how did they name the missions?
Name them?
Yes, sir.
Well, they didn't name a mission. They just had. When you go to the briefing room, they got a big map up there,
Okay.
and they got a string pulled down here. We're going here, and that's the initial point. You turn there and go to your target, and it shows you exactly the mission, how far it be, and where you're going, and it's drawn out on a map, and they tell you what to expect. Probably a lot of fighter, a lot of flight, anti-aircraft guns, a lot of flight.
So the men that you lived with in that brick house, were they part of your crew? The men that you lived with in the brick house, was that part of your crew? Okay. Did you guys become close friends?
Huh?
Did you become close friends with them?
Oh yeah, well, we lost when they first got over there, they divided the men up. The pilot had to fly as co-pilot on the first mission, and I didn't go on the first mission. Now the navigator had to fly as an associate, and three planes collided over the channel, and everybody got killed in 3 planes, and my navigator got killed, and a very close pilot on another plane, both of them clear close, got killed. First mission, they collided over the channel, and that's,
They
all
collided
of
with each other?
ran together. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I guess somebody got a little bit upset and lost control of his plane. One hit one, that'll cause it hit another one, and the navigator, we lost him. He was about one of the nicest persons on our crew. I thought the world of him. He just perfect gentleman, and he and I ran together when we'd anytime in pre-flight we would like to had open house. We'd go to town together, and so we just enjoyed each other. I don't know where he's from, but I went to his funeral over there. They had his funeral over there in England.
Oh, okay. What was your experience like with the English people? What was your experience like with the English people? Were they nice?
Oh yeah, real nice people. I don't know. They served us powdered eggs over there. That's the only thing I didn't like. And sometime we'd get on a bicycle and ride out in the country there and buy some eggs from the farmers out there. And we knew the best sergeant from North Carolina. When somebody knew him, he'd go in there and cook them for us when they ever wanted it. Of course, when you're not on mission, you go over any time, eat breakfast, they'd cook it for you. And
she was asking you about the English people, about the.
Well, I don't see many English people. I didn't associate with many English people. We weren't thrown with them too much.
Yeah. What would be the typical meal you would eat for dinner?
For dinner?
Yes, sir.
I don't remember what it was. It's been too long ago. But the food wasn't bad except breakfast. That
was the only thing?
Powdered eggs, I couldn't eat them too much.
I've never had those. I don't know what those are like. It doesn't sound too good.
It didn't sound.
But you did go, you did go into London one time, didn't you?
We went to London several. Every time we got open post, we went to London.
Okay, how far was your base from London?
Must have been about an hour's. Catch the train.
Okay.
About an hour up there, I guess. We had to catch the train. We'd all go into London. The pilot and no co-pilot and everybody would go into London.
Okay.
And go in and go eat a meal and sit around and see people. And of course, they had Red Cross stands anywhere. You could go to get them a punch drink, crackers to eat. Anything if you wanted to eat. The Red Cross. And just sightsee. And I didn't see a lot of damage because most of the damage was done north of London, where the Germans had bombed London. I didn't see a lot of that. I saw some of it.
Okay.
But most of it was done, they said, was north of of London.
Did you ever encounter any Germans, like, face to face?
No,
it was all when you were up in the air?
I didn't.
Okay.
But,
so how did you stay in touch with your family back home? Could you write them letters?
could I do it right?
Write letters to your family back home?
Yeah, we could write letters.
Okay.
Most of them were censored. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Could you tell your family where you were exactly?
Huh?
Could you tell your family exactly where you were?
No. They didn't know where I was. Of course, I couldn't tell them. If you write anything, they cut it out if you wrote anything. And so it wrote generally, but didn't specific anything about the war.
And then, how long were you over there totally? For total time, how long were you over there in England?
In what?
In England, how long were you there for?
In England?
Yes, sir.
Well, I was there we went over, let me have to think a minute now. We left, let's see. Well, I got in England in September of 42, and I came back in March of 43.
Okay.
Finished my mission and came back to the States.
And then when you came back to the States, did you think that was the end, or did you think you would have to go back over?
Oh, no, I wasn't back over there. I assumed they were going to send it to the Japanese, because I had a lot of training that I didn't get going over there. It had nothing to do with us. All of us coming back from overseas, they had to look for something for us to do. So I got more training when I came back than I got before I went over there. Went through all kind of same training, teach me how to fly a B-17, but I did go to B-29 school.
Okay.
And that's when I thought probably getting us ready to go to Japanese. But I knew we checked out in B-29s, but
How are the B-29s different from
oh,
the
it's
B-17?
beautiful. It's fine. It was easy to fly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just it was so much plush and real nice.
Mm-hmm.
Old 17 sounded like a 2-horse wagon, but B-29 insulated well, and it just flew good. It was the controls so easy to handle. I just enjoyed flying.
So when you were flying B-17s, what was the main point of your mission? Like, obviously. Okay.
All right.
What was the question?
On your missions, what exactly were you looking for?
Military targets only.
Okay.
They were all planned ahead of time. We had nothing to do with those. They would they'd run the planes way in there ahead of time. Some weather plane would go in ahead of us, fly way above anti-aircraft. Nobody could bother him, but he was taking pictures, plus seeing about the weather, and he could call back and talk to him about the weather.
Okay.
And,
so you weren't looking for town specifically, but
not
okay.
town. We were looking at military targets on this.
Okay. Was it just the Germans?
Hmm?
Was it just Germans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Germans, and they jumped. Of course, you're talking about the one at Bordeaux, France. That's the one that's right comical.
Okay.
Way down. You want to hear about it?
Yes, sir.
We were briefed on a mission, small mission, only about 35, 40 planes. We're going to Bordeaux, France. That's where they make wine, they make Bordeaux. And way down in southern France. So we went out out on the ocean to keep fighters from bothering us. Way down to southern France, cut back in, was coming back towards the airport, and I was sitting there looking at the airport, got in sight of it, and he says, "Open bomb bay doors." Well, I thought to myself, what's the opening? I see the pilot, that's way up there. Beautiful day. And I could see the airport way ahead of us. And a few minutes he said, "Bombs away." And I thought, my gosh, he done dropped these bombs way too soon. Well, I found out later he had his extended bomb, and I don't know why he did, because there was no opposition to anything. It was a beautiful day. I guess he just got excited or something. You put your extended bomb sight in so you can pick the thing up, but then you have to take that out so when you get over the target, you drop them. And he forgot, I guess, to take it out, and it showed him over the target, and he dropped, 20 miles before we got to the airport.
Wow.
And of course we got back. I knew we'd hear from it. Went to the briefing room, and some jackleg major or somebody, I don't know what rank he had, was getting up there telling us how much gasoline was burned, how much it cost to come. That I thought, well, that I could care less.
Oh, you're thinking, well, it's not my fault. I'm not the one that dropped it.
Yeah, I could care less. He got chewed out. I'm sure he got chewed out because the bombardier was dropped on the lead bombardier, and he's an experienced man. The lead bombardier was always not his first mission. He'd flown several missions, and he was flying with some rank up there with him too. He usually had a major lieutenant colonel co-pilot, and then the bombardier was usually an experienced man. It wasn't his first mission. He was experienced, had a little rank, and I don't understand what he had, but he got confused, I guess, made a mistake, and I'm sure he heard from it.
Do you have any other experiences like that?
That's the only one I know was real bad.
Okay.
The rest of them, we had pretty good target area. That we hit targets pretty good. We went several times to Frankfurt, Germany. That's ball bearing place, Frankfurt, Germany, and Schweinfurt, and set a bunch of targets in Germany. And
Tell her about, you did get into some fights where you talked about those blinking lights they were shooting at you.
oh, that's those. Oh, you asked about airplanes. The FW-19 is a radial plane. The engine is radial, and the ME-109 is an inline engine, has a sharp point to it. The propeller and the radial engine has a big red with a propeller in it, and it's what was I going to tell somebody?
We were talking. You were talking the other night about this.
Oh
About
yeah,
getting in a firefight.
they go around and come in front of you and come right through there, shooting at you, and you see that wing blinking at you. Just all the light just will blink. Well, they're guns. That's guns. That's not Christmas lights. That's guns. That's guns shooting at you.
And then when you saw the gun, would you guys turn around or would you guys keep in pursuit?
That's when the top turret gunner got killed on one of those missions.
Oh, okay.
And that turret, it was right over our head, right over my head, the pilot's head, about 12 inches above our head, went through that top turret, right behind us.
So when you would attack the Germans on your missions, would they have any idea it was coming, or would it completely catch them off guard?
Mm-hmm.
Would the Germans be caught off guard during your missions?
When y'all went to do the missions, did y'all encounter a lot of fights, or usually you just kind of went in and bombed and went out? You kind of caught them by surprise? She's asking you, did you catch them by surprise more often than not?
Well, I don't know whether we caught them by surprise or not. You never know what you get. But
Did they put up much of a fight, though?
yeah, some of those places you go to, they put up quite a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Some they wouldn't put up too much, but when we went to Frankfurt, a bunch of those targets, they fought. But you know, a fighter plane can come up and make one pass, and that's all he can do. He's got to go down. He's out of gas. And one plane can make about one pass at you, and he can't turn and go back around and catch you again and make another one.
Oh, okay.
He's got to go down. But the Germans had a lot of planes, and they could put several through your group. They're shooting at you. But
Did any of your planes ever go down?
I never saw many planes go down. Mm-hmm. I saw one. I talked to I kind of irritated one day the crew. I said, I don't know how y'all can miss a pilot coming through this plane. I said, just lay down a barrage in front of him and he'll fly into it. I was telling them one day how come they couldn't hit a plane. And they said, we see a lot of fighter planes going down after they get through.
Okay.
But I never saw one B-17 going down, and it was going down, and all of a sudden it started spinning, and I could see one or two of them. The boys were always they tried to count how many parachutes they'd see open, because they were going to ask them when they got back for interrogation how many parachutes you see come out of it. That way they can tell about how many men were safe, who was a prisoner of war.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But of course they told us very often if you wasn't in Germany, if you landed in the country out there somewhere, the underground could get a hold of you. And if they do, they're gonna get you back to Paris. Just do what they'll put you in overalls, and they do what they say. They'll move you at night, and they'll work you back to Paris. They had an underground but they knew where the German soldiers were, and they missed them. But I never encountered any of that because we didn't get shot down.
Mm-hmm.
But
you got to be prepared for that, though.
But a lot of them got back to Paris. Even shot down, they got back to Paris. And the planes, we had some planes were flying in below Paris and landing. I could tell the war was just about begin to wind down a little bit, because we could go to. I didn't go in any missions, but I was doing something else then. But they'd fly in below Paris and land in a field and leave some supplies for the underground and pick up either prisoners of war. Any what was shot down,
Mm-hmm.
they'd make it back then, get on the plane, and come back.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a hard thing to explain, but if they got in the underground, they would get them back to Paris.
Yeah.
And they'd get down there, and we'd pick them up in a plane. And that was, I was stationed at that field for about 2 months, and then the war, D-Day opened up, and that's when they stopped all that.
So when D-Day happened, where were you?
I was in New York. I'd already gotten back to New York.
So when you got the news that you were going to go back to America,
Hmm?
when you got the news that you were going to leave England for good? Were you surprised, or could you see it coming?
No, I knew they was going to, see, I finished my mission. They asked me if I was in a hurry to go home. I told them no, and they sent me up to this base, was flying in there below Paris and leaving supplies, landing in a field down there. The French would get out there with flashlights and lantern and everything, make a runway for them. They'd fly in and land, take supplies, and pick up some, if they had any prisoners aboard, pick them up and bring them back. And they'd fly 2 or 3 planes to do that.
You would be on one of those planes?
I never was, I kind of wanted to, but that didn't happen. But I was at that base about a month, and that's when they discontinued that because D-Day opened up.
Okay.
And I was back in D-Day opened up. I knew it was getting close. They could tell how the stiffened up guards and everything were getting. They thought the Germans might make some last attempt to stop that. Of course, the Germans knew that too. But they got put on a lot of extra guards into bases there and everything. But
so after D-Day, what did you do?
D-Day?
Yes, sir.
Well, I came on back home for a short time, and that's when I started my route around through extra training. Well, they gave us 30 days, 10 days of what they call recuperation, sent us down to Daytona Beach.
Okay.
That's when they all went down there to have a good time and eat good food and enjoy yourself. And that's when I went to the West Coast. And I went to instrument flying school at Bryan, Texas. Got a green instrument card. I got more training then than I got going before I went overseas. I went to Ohio and went through basic flight to learn how to fly the B-17 again. I went through all kind of. I should have had that training before I went overseas, but they didn't have time.
So they didn't train you how to fly B-17s before you went over there?
The pilots had gone through that, but I didn't.
So you just kind of had to learn by doing, I guess. You had to learn on the fly.
Yeah, I went up there and they went through the same basic training you would have gone if I'd right out of flying school. I should have gone up there, but I had to go overseas. I joined this crew, but the pilot had been up there. They sent the pilot up there. He'd gone through that training, but I didn't go through it till I got back from overseas. And there I went to B-29 school, and it's kept me in school all the time doing something, learning how to fly.
And then when were you finally done with all of the training?
When were you finally discharged or got out?
September the 1st, 45.
Okay, and then what did you do after that?
Went back to work at my old job.
And where did you work?
Exxon in Columbia, county department in Columbia.
Okay.
And I went down there and I thought I can't sit at this desk, and like I just seemed like I wanted to do something. I didn't want to get back into that working in the accounting department, pushing a pencil, and so they had an opening at the Belton terminal, so I had to get out and do something. I was working towards getting in the oil business, so I asked for a transfer to the Belton terminal. They had the opening up there, and so they gave it to me. They said they got an opening. If you want it, we'll give it to you. And so I moved up there, and in 1954, I quit the company and went into the oil business. 1954.
Where did you meet your wife?
At home, at church. I was staying at home right then.
Okay. And then after that, did you stay in Belton for a while?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you stay in Belton for a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, Anderson, we married, moved on College Avenue.
Oh, okay.
I moved on
Sherrod Street,
Street, little 2-bedroom house. You can imagine how crowded we were down there. Then I built a house on College Avenue and lived there till.
Well, she doesn't know how crowded you were. Papa told her you married a lady with 4 children.
Yeah, I married a children, 4 children. I'd go and get another distinguished flying cross.
And you knew you were getting yourself into? Wow.
He's the youngest one.
Okay. Okay. So, Overall, what were some lessons that you learned from your time in the service that you applied to, civilian life?
What I learned in civilian for time in service.
Yes, sir.
Just if you want to do something, go ahead and do it. You can learn, just trust yourself to go ahead and try it. I went in business. I went over there to Greenville, talked to the district manager, and I said, I want the job of selling fuel oil, kerosene in Anderson. And he looked at me and says, you know, that's going to cost a good bit of money getting that business. I said, well, I got a little bit of money. The bank going to loan me a little bit of money, and the company's going to give me credit. He looked at me. he was a nice fellow, and I got along with him well. He never said a word. But then when I got through with the conversation, he said, you go over and work at that thing, you'll do well at it. Says just, you can quit and you'll do well at it.
Okay.
And it did turn out good.
Turned out well?
Yeah, it did turn way better than expected to.
Tell her how old you were when you bought your first car and what it cost, just so we'll have that on tape.
Well, the first car I owned, brand new one, well, it wasn't as a demonstrator. It was a 1940 Plymouth demonstrator. Didn't have a radio in it, but it didn't. In fact, it didn't have a heater, but they were going to put a heater in it. I told them they had to give me a heater. $625. Now that was a 1940. Now they offered me a 1939 brand new one for $800. But I got 1940 demonstrated for $625.
Okay, so you saved a little money.
But that was a lot of money.
Yeah,
I had to go to the bank and borrow the money then.
How much money did you make that week? How much money did you make a week?
Well, I was making about $125 a week. It started off at 95, but when I came back from the service, they started pretty good. Inflation had already hit, so I think it was 275 or 375. I left him making 140, and I think it came back. I don't know where it's 275 a week. I guess it was 275 a week. It started us out.
Okay.
Inflation had started taking hold, so we got advantage of all that inflation too.
All right. I think that's all the questions I have.
Hmm?
So that's all the questions that I have. Thank you.
That's all the questions you got?
Yes, sir.
Well, I hope I've been some help.
Oh, yeah.